We have all been there. You drop actual money on credits for the newest, shiniest AI video platform. You wait 5 agonizing minutes for it to render. And congratulations.
You get a guy with 7 fingers.
Exactly. You have just paid for a video of a guy with a melted face. It is incredibly frustrating.
It really is. I mean, it feels less like creating and more like pulling the lever on a very expensive slot machine.
Welcome to the deep dive. We are skipping the hype cycle today. It feels like a new AI video platform drops every single week right now.
Oh, at least once a week.
Right, and everyone promises perfectly realistic motion. But the results, they usually look unfinished. They they look obviously generated.
Yeah, and constantly testing those new platforms costs real money. Every failed attempt just burns through your monthly credits.
It is expensive.
Totally. That trade-off simply does not make much sense anymore.
So today we are looking at something completely different. We are exploring a workflow that is a bit older, but it is pure gold. It prioritizes absolute meticulous control over random generation.
It's a highly deliberate process, very intentional.
We are going to walk you through a very specific 3-tool stack today. We will use Claude for visual style. We will use ChatGPT 5.6 for our reference images. And finally, Google Flow for the actual video generation.
I know it sounds like a lot of jumping around, but once you understand the underlying logic, it just changes everything.
Let's unpack this blueprint. Before you build a physical house, you need an architectural blueprint. So if our goal is to make a highly realistic video, why are we starting with a text-based AI?
Good question.
Why not just jump straight into an image generator?
Because vague prompts create messy videos. It is literally that simple.
Right.
If you just open a video generator and ask for a cool cinematic shot, the AI has to guess. It fills in the blanks. And frankly, AI is terrible at guessing.
So you got to choose a specific capture style first.
Exactly. This choice shapes everything else down the line. It defines the lighting, it defines the camera angle, it dictates the color grading.
It establishes the overall baseline for realism.
Spot on. You have to choose one clear capture method. You have to think about the exact camera setup you want to simulate.
Are you pretending to be a fan recording on a smartphone from the bleachers?
Right.
Is it a documentary crew with a shaky handheld rig?
Yeah.
Or a fixed cinema camera on a heavy tripod?
You have to make that decision immediately. When you describe the capture style clearly, the machines understand the physics of the scene. ChatGPT 5.6 and Google Flow can produce a much more mathematically consistent result when they have strict parameters.
I have to admit a vulnerability here. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself.
Oh, sure.
I start with a gritty sci-fi scene and end up with a cartoon. It just slips away from me.
That happens to everyone. It's a known vulnerability in how these neural networks operate. They want to drift toward average, generic concept.
They regress to the mean.
Exactly. That is exactly why we use Claude Opus 5 for this very first step.
Why Opus 5 specifically?
Because Anthropic designed Opus 5 specifically for complex reasoning. Plus, it handles high-level vision input beautifully. Right. It can look at an image and dissect the underlying technical data.
So the practical step here is that you upload a reference image to Claude.
Yeah.
You go online, find a still frame from a movie or a photograph with a visual style you love.
Yep.
But you probably don't know how to describe the technical lighting yourself.
Right. And Opus 5 notices those tiny details for you. It sees the nuances in the lighting contrast. It feels the specific lens type. It analyzes the color treatment.
Wow.
It gives you precise technical data instead of a vague, artsy summary.
So you feed Claude a highly specific prompt. You ask it to analyze exactly how the original footage was captured. You are asking for the camera and lens feel, the lighting, the color grading, the framing.
And the level of realism.
Yep.
But here is the absolute crucial instruction. You must tell Claude to give you one concise style description.
Right.
You must strictly command it to avoid poetic or vague language.
Does using non-poetic language actually change how the AI interprets the image data?
Absolutely. Poetic language introduces ambiguity into the latent space. If you say a scene is bathed in a sea of golden tears, the image generator might literally draw a sea of crying eyes. Technical terms give the machine exact mathematical boundaries for pixel generation.
So literal descriptions prevent the AI from hallucinating unnecessary artistic flourishes.
That is exactly right. You take that dry, literal description from Claude and you save it. That text becomes your anchor.
It helps you keep the exact same visual style throughout the entire rest of the workflow.
Exactly.
So Claude has given us the mathematical boundaries of our lighting and lens. We have the blueprint. But a blueprint isn't a house.
Right.
How do we start laying the physical bricks without the AI hallucinating?
This is where we transition from text to our first foundational image. We need to cast our actor and scout our location.
And for this, you recommend using ChatGPT 5.6?
I do.
Why move away from Claude at this stage?
Because ChatGPT 5.6 is uniquely strong at creating detailed, persistent characters. It handles realistic faces better than almost anything else right now. Okay. It understands skin texture. It understands how clothing folds. It gets the micro details right.
Why does that matter so much? I mean, we're just going to animate it later anyway.
Because its image editing is incredibly precise. Video generators like Google Flow will use your still image as the absolute foundation for movement. If your starting frame is flawed, your video will be a nightmare.
When your first frame looks hyper-realistic, your final video looks far more stable. So the workflow here is that you upload a clear photo of a character.
Yep.
You want to preserve specific facial features. Then you paste Claude's exact visual style description right alongside it.
Let's describe a specific scenario for you. You are prompting ChatGPT to use the uploaded person as your main character. You explicitly tell it to preserve the facial features, the hairstyle, the body proportions, their core identity.
Let's say you ask for a 16:9 realistic image. Our character is walking alone on a mountain trail. It is late afternoon. And you apply Claude's technical visual style.
You prompt for natural lighting, realistic skin texture, believable shadows falling across the trail.
Right.
You ask for imperfect camera framing to sell the realism. And you explicitly ban certain things. You say, no CGI details, no text, no extra people.
So ChatGPT generates the image. You have to check the face and hands carefully, check the clothing.
Yep. Always.
Check how the light hits the trees, but inevitably something will be slightly off.
Yes, and here is the golden rule of AI editing. If one detail looks wrong, do not regenerate the whole image. Ask ChatGPT 5.6 to edit just that specific part.
Right, because if you regenerate, you lose the magic of the parts that actually worked.
Exactly. You maintain your base image. If the left hand is weird, you tell ChatGPT, fix only the left hand. Once you have a strong, flawless frame, you lock it in.
It becomes the main reference for your next shot.
Yes.
It's exactly like stacking Lego blocks of data.
Yes.
You lock the base piece down and build on top of it. You don't rebuild the entire foundation just to change one window.
That is a brilliant analogy. You build consistency block by block. This step-by-step process helps ChatGPT preserve the character, the outfit, and the exact location.
Let's say we want a second shot for our sequence. We want to change the camera angle.
Okay.
We tell ChatGPT to move the camera behind the person. But now, we want to show a grizzly bear farther ahead on the trail.
Ooh, dramatic.
We tell it to preserve the same time of day and realistic camera quality from the first shot.
You are creating this new shot directly from your approved first frame. You never start from scratch.
Right.
Because you do it this way, Google Flow will eventually receive a perfectly consistent set of images. The lighting matches, the clothes match.
Wait, if I want a hiker and a bear, why not just ask ChatGPT to generate both the hiker and the bear in the very first prompt?
Because AI image generators have a notoriously short attention span for spatial relationships. If you ask for two complex subjects immediately, it blends their traits. The hiker might suddenly have fur. Introducing them sequentially anchors the main subject first, so the AI's neural network doesn't get confused.
Got it. Too many subjects at once dilutes the AI's focus and consistency.
Precisely. You have to guide its focus one subject at a time. Sponsor. This episode of The Deep Dive is brought to you by our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Okay, we are back. So we have a beautiful, mathematically consistent set of still frames. Now comes the most dangerous part of this whole process.
Yeah.
Adding time and motion. We have to figure out how to add physics without letting the AI warp our characters into monsters.
This brings us to step 3. Turning those flat reference images into moving video with Google Flow. In step 2, you successfully created 2 still images with 2 different camera angles.
We have to turn each image into a separate video clip. So we open Google Flow, we use the image to video feature, or frames as it's called on their platform. They will join them together later.
Google Flow is built specifically for this. You start with your first image. The character is walking alone on the mountain trail. You select the video tab. Then you choose frames.
You add this still image as your starting frame. You keep the aspect ratio at 16:9. Then you have to write an animation prompt. And the rule here is to keep it very simple.
Very simple.
You just say, the hiker walks slowly, clothing moves in the wind, the camera follows with subtle handheld movement.
Keeping it simple is critical. When you do that, Google Flow keeps the face and body proportions consistent.
Hmm.
The lighting and environment match the reference image perfectly because it isn't trying to calculate too many complex actions at once.
Now, we have to define the audio for this clip. We prompt for soft footsteps, light wind, distant birds. But importantly, we explicitly say no music.
Right, and you notice that animation prompt only asked for one main action, the walking. That constraint helps Google Flow keep the movement much more natural. It doesn't have to calculate a complex sequence of events.
So clip 1 is rendering. Then we animate clip 2. This is the image where the camera's behind the hiker and the bear is ahead. We upload it. Our prompt this time is just that the bear takes one slow step forward, the hiker steps backward.
And you prompt the camera to stay behind the hiker with very light handheld motion. Because the prompt is simple, Google Flow keeps everything structurally sound again.
Whoa. Beat. Imagine the AI calculating the physics of every single piece of gravel shifting underfoot. It has to simulate light, shadow, and weight for thousands of pebbles all at once.
It is staggering when you really stop to think about the math. The sheer computational power required for that is mind-bending.
It really is.
The machine is essentially hallucinating physics in real time, frame by frame.
For the audio on clip 2, we prompt for gravel movement. We want subtle bear sounds, a bit of wind, but again, strictly no music.
Now you have both of your moving clips. You have to combine them. You add them to a project scene. This introduces something called Scene Builder.
Which is basically a digital editing timeline where you arrange clips into one sequence.
Exactly. It looks like a simplified version of standard video editing software. You place clip 1 on the timeline first, then you place clip 2 right after it. You hit play and you preview the full sequence. You are looking to see if the transition between the two shots feels natural.
But because we created these two clips completely separately, the transition is probably going to look a bit rough. The character's position or the movement speed might change too suddenly at the cut.
That is incredibly common. When that happens, you use a feature in Scene Builder called the Describe Your Edits box. You actually ask Google Flow to smooth the transition for you. You tell it to create a natural visual bridge.
So you tell the AI to bridge the final 2 seconds of the first clip and the opening 2 seconds of the second clip. But you have to set boundaries.
Yes, strict ones.
You strictly forbid sudden cuts.
Yeah.
You command it, no character morphing, no
Yeah.
dramatic sound effects.
You are forcing the machine to match the camera direction. It has to match the subject position. It has to match the movement speed. It even blends the environmental audio. It smooths the connection without fundamentally changing the main content of either clip.
I noticed you were incredibly specific about the audio earlier. Why specifically ask it to not include music in the individual clips?
Because audio generation in these platforms is baked directly into the final video file. If you have baked-in music on clip 1 and different baked-in music on clip 2, you can't smoothly cut them together without a jarring audio glitch. You want clean stems, meaning isolated audio tracks completely separate from any background music.
Makes sense. Embedded music restricts your editing choices later in the final timeline.
Exactly. Keep the audio stems clean and isolated so you have total control.
So the clips are on the timeline. They're bridged. But before we hit export, we have to put on our director's hat. We enter the final phase of this workflow. We have to rigorously review and improve the results.
This is where most people fail. You have to do aggressive quality control. AI video generators are infamous for hiding terrifying flaws in the tiny details.
Yeah.
A clip might look breathtaking at first glance, but profound structural problems appear when you look closely.
Because the temporal smoothing tricks our human eyes. So you must watch every single clip twice. You watch once at normal speed to check the vibe. Then you watch it once in extreme slow motion.
You are looking for very specific failures. Does the face stay mathematically consistent? Do the hands and body keep their natural shape, or do they melt?
Right.
Does the movement look smooth and physically believable, or does it look like they're floating?
You check the clothing for weird morphing. You check the lighting to ensure shadows fall correctly. You make sure the generated sound actually matches the physical action on the screen.
If a detail is wrong, you do targeted fixing. This is crucial. You fix one specific problem at a time. You describe the exact problem in the prompt box.
So they're just complaining. You say, the character's right hand looks distorted in frame 40.
Exactly.
Or the walking motion looks too fast. Or the face changes during the final 2 seconds.
Do not ever use broad prompts. Never just say, make it better or fix this. A broad request causes Google Flow to recalculate the entire vector space. It will alter parts of the video that were already perfect.
It scrambles the good data to try and guess how to fix the bad data. So you tell it to keep the exact same character and lighting. Fix only the specific issue you named.
You command it to make the corrected movement look physically believable, and you explicitly tell it not to change any other part of the clip.
But here is the harsh truth of this workflow. Do not keep a shot just because the AI finished generating it.
Right. It is physically painful to delete work that took 10 minutes to render, but it is true.
A clip might have beautiful, smooth camera movement. The lighting might be breathtaking. But if the main character's face morphs for even 1 single second, you have to scrap it.
Yeah.
You have to delete it and regenerate it from the original reference image.
You have to be absolutely ruthless as a director. A single morphing face destroys the illusion of reality for the entire sequence. Your audience will instantly know it's fake. You only add completely flawless clips to your final video.
Is there a psychological trap here where we accept a bad clip just because it took a long time to generate?
Oh, absolutely. It is a textbook example of classical conditioning. You wait patiently for 5 minutes, you get a visual reward. Even if the reward is deeply flawed, your human brain wants to accept it just to justify the waiting time. You have to actively fight that instinct.
Yeah, the sunk cost fallacy is the enemy of a realistic video.
Spot on. Don't let your emotional sunk costs ruin your final export. Delete the bad clips.
Zooming out from the timeline, let's look at the overarching philosophy of this workflow. We covered a massive amount of technical ground today.
It is a dense, demanding process. Claude establishes the mathematical visual rules. ChatGPT 5.6 builds the persistent physical assets. And Google Flow brings those assets to life with simulated physics.
The core takeaway for you is this. True realism in AI video creation does not come from blindly trusting a single magical platform. The hype cycle wants you to believe it does, but it never does.
Realism comes from enforcing rigid stylistic consistency across multiple tools. It requires using incredibly strong reference images, and it demands taking modular, step-by-step control of the movement. You have to guide the machine. It cannot guide you.
It gives you so much more control than just testing random video platforms and burning credits.
Yeah.
You stop hoping one magical prompt produces a finished masterpiece. You engineer the result yourself, brick by brick.
You become an actual director, not just a prompter. You command the lighting, you cast the actors, and you enforce the physics.
I highly recommend you try this exact to stack on your next project. Just to see it work, take a photo from your own camera roll, run it through Claude Opus 5 just to see how accurately the AI dissects the visual style of your own life. It will surprise you.
It is a phenomenal exercise. It really helps you understand how the machine actually sees the parameters of the physical world.
But I want to leave you with a final thought today, a philosophical question. We are using 3 separate tools right now, but these tools will inevitably merge into a single, seamless interface. It is just a matter of time before Claude, ChatGPT, and Flow are one button.
That convergence is definitely happening soon. The friction will disappear.
So when that happens, will the role of a video creator shift entirely? Will we move completely away from crafting a scene from scratch to merely curating and correcting a simulated reality that the machine builds around us?
It is a profound shift in human creativity. We transition from artists to editors of synthetic reality.
Something to mull over while you wait for your next generation to render. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious.